Welcome to the first section of the course. In this section, we will learn the fundamental language of web development, which is HTML. And to get started, let's now learn what HTML actually is and what we can do with it. So basically, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And remember how we learned earlier that HTML is one of the core web technologies along with CSS and JavaScript. Now, HTML is a markup language that web developers use to structure and describe the entire content of any web page. And notice how I said markup language. That's because HTML is actually not a real programming language. It's a markup language because we use it to describe something. And in the case of HTML, we describe content using different HTML elements. So basically, HTML consists of different elements that we can use to describe different types of content. So we have different elements to create paragraphs, links, page headings, images, video, and a lot more. Now, you might be wondering, why do we need to describe our content like that using all these HTML elements? Well, the reason is that web browsers, such as Google Chrome, actually understand HTML code and can then render the HTML that we write as actual web pages that we can see and use. Okay, so this is essentially what HTML is and what we can do with it. But now let's zoom in a little bit and take a look at the anatomy of an HTML element. So basically, taking a look at the building blocks of each HTML element. And here we are looking at the paragraph element, as you can see by the P. So all of this is actually called the element itself. Now, as we can see, an HTML element is usually made up of three parts. First is the opening tag, which is the name of the element. So in this case, it's the P wrapped in the less than and the greater than symbols. Then, after that, we have basically the content of the element. So in this example, that is just some text, but there might be other types of content. For example, an element can contain another element inside of it, which we then call a child element. Also, some elements, such as images, have actually no content at all and only have an opening tag. Finally, after the content, we need to close the element by using the closing tag. So the closing tag is basically the same as the opening tag, but with a slash in front of the P. So we open the paragraph element simply with the P, and then we close it with /P like this. Okay, and that's really all you need to know in order to start learning HTML in practice, which is exactly what we will do in the next lecture.